Okay, now for the next lesson. This again is just, I'm going to do front back here. Now they start throwing in the square roots, they start throwing variables and exponents. So you got 8x to the 5th power and then y to the 6th power. So what you're going to do is you're going to make your own square root just like that. And what you're going to do is you're just going to put 8 in its own square root. And then with the x to the 5th, you're going to write x times x times x times x times x, because that's 5 factors of x when it's to the 5th power. Then y to the 6th is the same thing. Y times y times y times y times y times y. Now that square root of 8, you're going to do what you've always done. You're going to look in the bubble. 8's not here, so I put divided by. The first number in that bubble less than 8 is 4. So I divide 8 by 4, and that works. So I replace the square root of 8 with 2 square roots, and in those square roots I put 4 and 2. Again, we're always going to get rid of the first square root because we know that that's equal to just the number 2. Now you're like, well, what do I do now? Well, the number here that came out of the square root, that goes outside, and you got to get this right. That one goes outside, that one goes inside. Now here's what we do with the variables. We put them in groups of 2. 1, circle 2 at a time. How many circles did I just make? How many circles? You made 2. So you're going to put an x on the outside with a second power. Why the second power? Because you got 2 groups. And this x right here, put that on the inside. Okay, now y, groups of 2. 1, 2, and 3. So I put a y outside with a third power. And I didn't have any y's left, so I'm not going to have a y inside there. So that's simplified. 2x to the second, y to the third, and then the square root of 2x. Okay, now the next one. So I make my square root of 25, my square root of x to the 6th, and my square root of y to the 8th. Now look inside your bubble, okay, and you see 25's here. So right away I put what 25 is. It's 5 and 5. So since I was in the bubble, we put 5, okay, because it's 5 by 5. You put 5 outside the square root. And you're not going to have a big number in the square root, okay? So if that number's in the bubble, don't do anything here, okay? Just put what it equals. So square root of 25 is 5. 5 goes here. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. Okay, scribble that out. X to the 6th will be 6x's. And then y to the 8th would be 8 factors of y. And now you circle them in pairs. 1, 2, 3. So I put x to the 3rd outside, and there'll be no x's inside. Then y to the 8th. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I put y to a power of 4. Now you're like, okay, that's great. What goes inside? Nothing. If you don't have anything inside the square root, you don't want it there. And this is my answer. 5x to the 3rd, y to the 4th. Okay, now my next problem, I make a square root, and I put square root of 18. And then x to the 7th, I write that variable out 7 times. Sorry about the mix-up up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then y to the 9th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 18, is that in the bubble? It's not, so you have to divide into it. So the first factor lower than 18 would be 16. Decimal, and then divide 18 by 9. Okay, so I replace the square root of 18 with 9 and 2, and this got to go away because the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, so I'm going to put 3 outside the radical or the root and 2 inside. It's got to be done like that too. You can't get them mixed up because that's still under a square root. That one's not, okay? Then in pairs, 1, 2, 3. So I got 3 pairs. There's 3 circles, so x to the power of 3. And then there's an x left, so we put that inside the root. Y to the 9th, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's 4, so y to the 4th outside, and then this y here will be inside. There's your simplified expression. Okay, square root, so I have the square root of 72, and then x to the 5th is x times x times x times x times x, and then I just have y. Okay, so 72 is not in the bubble, so I need to divide into it. So divide 72 by 64. Doesn't work. Divide 72 by 49. Doesn't work. Divide 72 by 36. Okay, so square root times square root, and then 36 and 2. Okay, so here's 36, so that's 6. Okay, and then we put 6 outside, and the 2 stays inside. Now circle them in pairs. 1, 2, and then that one doesn't have a pair to go with, so I just made 2 circles, so x to the 2nd power. And there's this x left to go here. Now for y, you can't get a pair, okay? Because if you try to circle them in 2s, you don't even have 2 to circle. So you put that y inside. Okay, next one. I've got the square root of 36. Got the square root of x to the, or no, again, x to the 5th to be x times x times x times x times x. Then y to the 2nd is y times y. Okay, now again, 36 is in the bubble, so don't do anything here, okay? The square root of 36 is 6, so you need to put a 6 outside the square root. Don't put 36 either, okay? This equals 6. You just put what it on your chart inside the root. So x to the 5th, 1, 2, so x to the 2nd power, and then there's an x left over. Y to the 2nd, 1, so y to the 1st power, and I wouldn't put any y inside because there's none left out of a pair. Okay, my next problem, square root. So we're going to treat the square root of 80, and then x to the 6, I go x times x times x times x times x times x, and then y to the 4th, y times y times y times y. Okay, so 80, not in here, so I got to divide the 80. On your calculator, punch in 80 divided by 64, nope. By 49, nope. By 36, nope. By 25, nope. By 16. Okay, we got that. So I rewrite that in 2 square roots, and then 16 times 5. Again, this gets eliminated. That's 4 by 4, so this is replaced with 4. So we put a 4 outside of the root and a 5 inside. So x to the 6, 1, 2, 3. I get 3 pairs. X to the 3rd, and there's none left over. Y to the 4th, 1, 2. Y to the 2nd with none left over. Okay, my next one, square root. So I've got the square root of 30, and then x to the 7th, x times x times x times x times x times x times x. Then y to the 3rd, y times y times y. So 30, not in here, so I need to divide into the 30. So 30 divided by 25, I got a decimal. 30 divided by 16, decimal. 30 divided by 9, I got a decimal. 30 divided by 4, I got a decimal. Now divide 30 by 1. Okay, you got 30, so I rewrite that. You're just going to rewrite the 30 as 1 times 30. It's not that big of a deal, because the square root of 1 is 1. And you replace that with 1. So we're going to put a 1 outside, a 30 inside. Technically, you don't have to put the 1 outside, but x to the 7th, 1, 2, 3. So x to the 3rd outside, and there's an x left over. Y to the 3rd, okay, that's my only pair. So y to the 1st with a y inside. Okay. And then square root, so we have the square root of 24, and x to the 10th, x times 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 x. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got it. Y to the 7th, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 24 is not in the bubble. So I divide into the 24. We'll take 24 divided by 16 first. Didn't work. Now I'll divide 24 by 9. Didn't work. Divide 24 by 4, and that's 6. So I rewrite that as 4 and 6. So again, this is replaced with its equal, which is 2. So we're going to put a 2 outside with a 6 inside. X to the 10th pairs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So x to the 5th. You don't have any left, so you don't put x inside. 1, 2, 3, and then leave that one alone. So y to the 3rd outside with a y inside. And that is how you simplify expressions at square roots that include not only a number but variables and exponents.